All right, it's my great pleasure to welcome Justin Thomas to the Media Centre. Thank you so much for joining us. We've heard a little bit from you over the last couple of weeks about your love for links golf. What are your thoughts on Royal Portrush?
I love it. This is only my fourth Open, but I would say it's my favorite venue that I've been to thus far. It's a beautiful, beautiful course. I'm sure the weather has something to do with that. That's definitely helped, but I feel that it's just a great test of golf. It has a little bit of everything. You're going to have some holes with some short irons, some holes with some long irons, and great variety on the par threes, an opportunity for different setups. But, obviously barring the conditions, which is something that you never know can happen, I think it's just a tremendous golf course.
Excellent. Questions from the floor, please.
What do you think you're better at now that you weren't 4 years ago when you first started coming over?
I think I'm better at about it. Oh, in links golf. I think just the understanding of how to play it. I know that it's very bland and broad, but just like last year, I felt like I learned a lot on Friday because I had the same game plan on Friday when it was raining sideways and cold than I did when it was 65 and sunny. When there's bunkers that I easily could carry when it was fine, or at least not even great out. But then when conditions get like that, I feel like I have to change my game plan or just attack holes differently. And I think that's something that it's taken me a couple of years to learn. Obviously haven't done it too well, but and I'm sure I haven't played as well in the past couple of years too. But I just think that understanding the situation and the weather that I'm playing in and the situation kind of thing, and kind of reassessing where I'm at versus just in the States. I'm going to hit driver off this hole probably no matter what. It's just a matter of I'm going to go up the left side of the fairway, or if the wind's off the right, then I'll maybe go up the right side of the fairway. And here it's a different golf course and a different hole, so you just have to kind of totally take it differently.
Microphone one, please.
Justin, kind of along those lines, I think last year when you left, you said you'll figure this tournament out eventually. Mm-hmm. Is it just a matter of your approach shot by shot, or did you kind of have to work on certain shots and hitting certain things that maybe you wouldn't have to hit in most tournaments in the last year to feel more prepared?
That's a good question. I don't think I didn't do anything in my preparation. I wasn't hitting lower shots when I was home or chipping with different clubs. I try to take it like I do every other week. I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get accustomed to the greens, to get accustomed to around the greens. But I also played the Scottish last week to where I don't feel like I have to do as much yesterday, today, and tomorrow to get prepared for this week. So I would just say it's more kind of like I was saying earlier, just kind of getting my mind in the right frame of mind or state of mind. But just in the past, I think it's just been poor execution in some spots, but also the weather and the draws that I've been in haven't exactly been ideal either. But I understand over a long career that stuff's going to happen, and hopefully it'll even out or get in my favor at some time. But that's just a part of the Open Championship.
Microphone three.
Justin, we're sort of coming to the end of the major season now under this new schedule.
We aren't sort of. We are at the end of the major season.
I should look that up. What do you think the biggest impact of the new schedule has been now that you've been sort of through it to this point from a player's standpoint in terms of, playing, preparing, scheduling? What's been the most noticeable impact for you?
I'm probably not the best person to ask for that since I unfortunately had about a month and a half off. But, I really do think it's going to take everybody a 2 or 3 years to find their groove. Before this year, I would say you could probably get 40 or 50 guys in a room and they could tell you their schedule before the season even started, myself included. Maybe one tournament here or there, depending on if you want to add whatever it might be. But I think it's going to take a couple of years for everyone to kind of figure out what works for them, and getting ready for the majors or playing in other events that maybe they didn't have the opportunity to in previous years. But it's been fine. obviously I would have liked to played a little bit more, a couple more events, but everyone's had to deal with the schedule change and trying to figure it out. But it's like anything, you get used to it.
And then unrelated, have you ever tried anything like a 6-day fast, like the one Phil Mickelson just went on? And is there any amount of struggles that would convince you to try that?
I feel like I got to be careful what I say here. No, I haven't. That I enjoy food way too much, and I get way too angry if I don't eat. But fortunately for Phil, he's in an age where he's tried a lot more things than I have. So, sometimes you have to try different things for him to work. So maybe, it'll work for him. Obviously, he thinks it's going to give him an advantage or he wouldn't try it. But that's not for me.
2, please.
Can you take on a lot of the doglegs off the tee and try to cut corners, or with the rough being this thick, is it more of a placement course where guys will be hitting to a lot of the same spots?
I think that's why this course is so well designed. I mean, the last couple have been very similar, but you really can do anything. I mean, even a hole like 1, it's like, do you want to hit driver and kind of take it past every bunker? Do you want to hit 3-wood and kind of fit it in between them, or do you want to hit a 4-iron and keep it short? It's just, you have the opportunity to do what you want, and the rough is spotty. Some holes are worse than others, and some spots are worse than others. So, there's some holes where one side is better than the other, and we know that, to where, okay, if I'm going to hit driver, maybe just kind of lean toward the side a little bit. But it's very, very dependent on wind. I mean, I hit a lot of drivers yesterday with the wind direction we had, and I drove it beautifully, and had a lot of scoring opportunities. Obviously, it was very, very nice outside and not very much wind. But kind of like I said earlier, I just think that you kind of have to take the hole in the course for what it is with the wind conditions that you have and the severity of the wind. So it's hard to say. I think when it's nice outside, you'll find guys hitting a lot of drivers, because it is a golf course. I feel like you kind of need to play from the air a little bit coming into the greens. It's not, you don't have as much opportunity to run it up there. But that being said, if we get some tough conditions, you're going to need to make a lot of par, so you're going to need to be in the fairway.
1, please.
JT, everybody's talking about this Northern Ireland hospitality and enthusiasm. How welcoming have guys like, GMAC and Rory and Darren Clark been to you, whether it's sharing advice, tips, local knowledge, as they also try to protect their home turf at the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, guys like GMAC and Darren, I know well, but it's not like I'm texting them a couple times a week on an ordinary week. So I think that would be a little weird if I decided to now. But no, they're getting pulled so many different directions this week and prior weeks coming up to here, to where, I'm kind of letting them do their thing. I'm going to try to play with Rory. I think we're going to try to play tomorrow. So, but I asked him about a month and a half ago or so, because I knew that he was probably getting the same thing, getting pulled a lot of different directions and asked to play. But, Rory is someone I'm a little bit closer with, and I play a lot of practice rounds with. So, I'm sure he'll give some advice, but kind of hold it somewhat within, not wanting to give too much. But at the end of the day, no matter how much local knowledge you have, you still have to hit the golf shot. So.
That being said, how much will you learn or hope to learn just from observing Rory tomorrow?
Yeah, I hope to learn a lot. But the thing is I played with Charlie Hoffman yesterday. We played 3 of us, and Jake, I forget his last name, from Australia. But it's, even if you don't play with someone that's from here, it's just playing, I think, with 2 or 3 guys and just seeing where all the golf balls go. Paying attention to every shot everybody hits, seeing where they come down and seeing where they end up. It doesn't necessarily need to be somebody from here to, the ball's going to go where it's going to go, whether you hit it or I hit it. If it lands a certain distance and comes down in a certain spot, just seeing where they go. At different distances, everybody hits at different distances. So for me, it's been helpful the last couple of days, just playing with a lot of guys and just seeing in different spots that they get it in, and if there's a tendency of balls seem to feed here around the greens or in the fairways. So that's been helpful for me.
3, please.
Since the PGA of America chose not to give you an exemption the first time around, can you try to imagine what it'll be like when it goes back to Valhalla in 24, and is there anything you can possibly relate to what Rory and GMAC might go through this week?
I definitely can't relate to anything. I would say the closest I could get would be a Ryder Cup at Valhalla, because it's, they're playing for their country. I mean, obviously, we're playing the U.S. Open, we're playing whatever for United States of America, but where they grew up, it's different. I don't need to explain it, but it will be great going to the PGA at Valhalla. Be nice, it's be the only time I can ever play in front of my home city, my home crowd, and usually the Memorial's the closest I can get, depending on certain situations or majors or different events that sometimes get close, or Indiana, something like that. But yeah, it'll be great, and I'm sure they're excited for this week, and I can't imagine what they're going to feel going to that first tee, coming up that 18th green, and I'm sure their roars will be quite known across the golf course. You could definitely see that, I think, but the good thing for all three of them is they're all veterans, and they've been in situations that are very very difficult in the past, to where they know how to handle it. But that being said, I can't really compare anything to playing in front of your home country. So it's where you grew up, in a golf course you've played a million times. So it's a great experience, and I'm sure they'll handle it very, very well. And I know they're very excited for the week.
2, please.
Justin, 9 out of the last 10 majors have been won by Americans, and this could be the first time in a long time that the U.S. goes 4 for 4 in a single calendar year. Is there anything you can point to that might explain that recent trend?
Nothing I can really think of, to be honest. I mean, I know you're looking for an explanation, but I really can't. Yeah, I don't know. That's cool. I didn't know that, though. Nice.
1, please.
Yeah, Justin, just referring back to the Northern Ireland issue, before you came here, did you appreciate, I'm not sure how often you've been here before, appreciate what a big deal the Open is coming back here? And have you already had sort of an experience that sort of reinforced that this week, that you realise everyone's so into it?
Yeah, I had somewhat of an idea, but I think I probably don't respect it or understand it enough. That could just be with my age, though, as well. I mean, I'm sure, or just not being from here. I think, it's been how many years?
58.
Yeah, 58 years. So that's unbelievable. Just to have to come back to Northern Ireland. I played Royal County Down for the Palmer Cup. Obviously quite a different setting, but still huge crowds, very, very supportive golf fans. I've really enjoyed coming to play the few European Tour events I have, in the Open Championship. It's just cool because it feels so gracious to be here. Everyone's just, thanks for coming here. It's like, well, what else would I do? It's the Open Championship. Like, what am I going to skip it? Or last week, how, everyone was great in the French Open. Everyone was just thanking me for being there and asking how I'm enjoying it and just being nice. And it is cool. I mean, not that we obviously get plenty of treatment like that in the States as well, but the fact of coming over here is little or not as often, I think, is what makes that a little bit more special. But the fans are always great over here. It's going to be a great week. I don't know what to expect, but I also have an idea of what might the crowds be like. The first couple of days, it'll probably be pretty berserk out there, but a lot of fun.
4, please.
You mentioned Rory earlier. You're playing with him tomorrow. Do you feel he's going to be the man to beat in this tournament? And those crowds you just touched on there, do you think they could be quite inspiring to him?
I mean, Rory's going to be hard to beat because he's Rory McIlroy. It's not because we're playing Royal Portrush. I think he's one of the best players in the world. He's won a lot of times, won a lot of majors, and he's really, really good at golf. So he's going to be hard to beat because of that, not just because we're here. I think there's just a lot of things that go into it. It doesn't matter how many times you've played a golf course and how many times you've seen it. You still have to hit the shots and execute and make the putts when you need to, get up and down, and you need to get the breaks. I mean, that's stuff that happens when you win golf tournaments. But yeah, obviously I'm sure he's the favorite if you're looking stuff up, or whatever it might be. But I know there's a lot of people, myself included, that feel like they have a good chance and want to give him a run.
2, please.
Just come to a place that not a lot of people have been. In the weeks leading in, do you do any homework at home, like hopping on Google Earth or YouTube or watching videos or anything to prepare for here?
Yeah, I tried to watch some videos. I couldn't find very much. I think even though it's been, I think it was 2012, the Irish Open was here. Even in 7 years, how much the technology has changed, or just how less video. Now I feel like you can see every shot of every person, not every person, but a lot of people throughout the tournament, whereas then it wasn't quite as much information. I know the course has changed a little bit, but I watched a little bit, just some stuff on YouTube, especially when you have the sleepless nights and mornings of doing nothing. You get bored pretty quickly, but I mean, last week playing, and I just was trying to get accustomed to the time and the different style of golf, and just trying to get my game in a good spot.
Was anything helpful?
Not really, to be honest. I'm kind of a golf nerd in terms of like watching old videos and just stuff. I don't know. I think it's fun sometimes to watch. I mean, I actually a couple nights ago watched like I think 13 at Muirfield Phil when he won, just because I don't remember everything and all the details, but it's just kind of cool to watch how they did it. And if you do pick up on anything, there wasn't anything that really stood out of the guys or the videos that I watched, but I remember seeing some pretty nasty conditions in some videos, that's for sure.
Just here. Sorry, just wait for the microphone.
I just wanted to ask you about the 17th, how you played that in practice, how you might approach it during the week, and whether that you feel that's a hole that's obviously very birdieable or key to put
Yeah,
on
it
the score.
depends on the wind direction. I mean, yesterday I had driver about 30 yards from the green, so that's a very easy hole. But if you get it offline, if you get it in that left bunker, you can, depending on the lie, you can probably at least get it to the front of the green or on the green. But I mean, if you hit it in the right fescue, it's a crapshoot on if you get a good lie or not. I think the dominant wind is in and off the right there, I want to say. So if we get a strong wind, not being able to get down that hill, that changes that hole drastically. I mean, hitting your second shot from 100 and probably anywhere from 120 to 160, huge elevation into a wind. I mean, it's going to be tough to control it. So it goes from if it's downwind, it's going to be a hole that will play under par, to where if it's into the wind, it could be a hole where 4 is a good score. So I guess you just kind of have to wait to see in the wind direction.
4, please.
I don't know how much time you've spent with Furyk in the last 4 or 5 months, but for a guy at 49 to qualify for 3 of the majors and 2 WGCs and hits it as far as he doesn't, how do you think he does it?
I played a whopping 2 holes with him today, but it was good. Yeah, game looks great. He knows what he's good at, and he plays to that. He knows. I mean, if he's got to get the ball in the fairway, he's going to tee it low. He's going to hit a little low draw out there, and he's going to hit the fairway. And he knows his yardages. He knows how to control his distance. He's so good around the greens. It's just he doesn't try to play. He plays within himself. He doesn't try to do anything that he knows he can't do. And I think that's something that comes with age, comes with experience. Where I'm sure in the past I've maybe stepped up to a tee and I'm like, I maybe don't like this off the left wind, but I feel like I can kind of turn a driver against it, and I don't, and maybe hit it out of bounds and make a 7. Whereas he's like, hey, I don't like that wind. I'm just going to hit a 3-wood over here and, hit it in front of the green and get it up and down, and then he beats me by 3 on the hole. So he just, especially at Open Championships, where you got to just kind of keep it on the ground sometimes and kind of pick your spots. It's just, that's what he's good at. He sticks to his game plan. He knows what he's doing. He knows what his golf ball's going to do. And he definitely believes in it, as he should, because it's been very successful.
Do we have any final questions? No? Excellent. Well, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your
Thanks.
time today,
Appreciate
and
it.
best of luck this week.
Thanks.